It was a little chilly Thursday morning. What's going on, guys? I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. In this video, of course, we're going to talk about the chill, and we'll be gradually start to warm things up. Post in the comments if you like the cooler weather or if you want some of the warmth back. I love to know your thoughts. We're also going to talk about the drought. It is worsening in parts of Florida and expanding through others. We're going to break all that down and talk about the long-range trends here when it comes to rainfall. Of course, we'll give you the north, central, and south Florida forecast, and then we'll venture to a tropical update towards the end of the video, the latest on that Caribbean storm. Again, post in the comments if you are a fan of this cooler weather. Before we get into all things Florida weather in the tropics, if you want to stay updated, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that if you just happen to find this content helpful. I would love it if you hit that thumbs up button. It really does help us out a lot. Here is the wide view here, the water vapor imagery. It shows the atmospheric motions in our atmosphere. It's about 15 to 20,000 feet here. That's where we're looking at the different moisture in the atmosphere. You can clearly see here all of this brown. Hardly a cloud in the sky beyond our strong cold front that no doubt delivered the coldest air of the season. We had 30s in North Florida. We had 40s and 50s through Central Florida. Obviously a little bit warmer for us in South Florida, but nonetheless the coldest air of the season for most of Central Florida. Now, gradually over the next couple of days, we are going to break out of this chill. Here we go, starting off your morning on Friday. I'll show you the future radar in just 1 second. We're going to rebound. So I don't think we're going to see widespread 30s and 40s like we saw. I think we'll see a few 40s sprinkled in, especially in north, central, interior Florida, west of Jacksonville, north of Tallahassee, to the east of Tallahassee, kind of right smack dab, kind of in the icebox of Florida, where we typically would get our coolest air as it settles in away from the water. Pensacola, we're talking low to mid 50s, upper 40s and lower 50s towards Port St. Joe. Still chilly in central Florida, mid to upper 50s on Friday morning. Not as chilly, but certainly still might want the jacket. And then we're still staying nice and warm in South Florida with air temperatures on your Friday morning back to the upper 60s and lower 70s. We're going to rebound nicely across most of the state. There's 3 o'clock on Friday, pushing 80 degrees in Orlando. I think most of us in the central Florida area staying in the mid to upper 70s, low to mid 70s still in the Panhandle and North Florida, and then chilling in the middle 80s, of course, in Southwest Florida into South Florida as well. So nice and mild, of course, in deep South Florida. Now, once we get into tomorrow morning, or Saturday morning, I should say, the rebound continues. 50s and 60s show up for us in North Florida, and then the 60s and 70s return into Central and South Florida. So we are gradually going to work our way back out of this little November chill we've gotten ourselves into. In terms of the rainfall, I do think we are going to have increasing rain chances as we get into the weekend, especially the closer to the Atlantic coast you are. But Thursday is looking nice for most of the rest of Thursday anyway. The lone shot here for some scattered showers is going to be right along the coast. We've all felt the breeze, especially closer to the East Coast. Again, it's going to be dangerous beach and boating conditions through the weekend, as well as we have that strong wind off of the Atlantic. Again, gust at times still in that 20 to 30 mile per hour ballpark, especially, again, right along the Atlantic coast. So that is going to be something to be mindful of. Let's take this out a little further and show you Friday morning. Again, with the exception of a stray shower or two along the Atlantic coast, most of Florida is going to be dry again. Is that evidence of that drier air in the mid-levels of our atmosphere that I showed you in the water vapor imagery. Lots of sunshine through the Panhandle and then right smack dab down the Florida Peninsula. So things are looking pretty good. Now, I mentioned about rain chances increasing for the weekend. Kind of looks tropical in nature. It's not, but we're going to have the potential in a way for a little area of low pressure to develop kind of right here. You see the clouds in white expanding through as we get towards the second half of Friday. Then we're going to have this little batch here kind of spiral through. You see it going forward. There's 6 o'clock on your Friday evening, and then further out, those clouds advance further north into central Florida with increasing rain chances into southeast Florida, and then closer to the Atlantic coast. Where we could use the rain right now, it's really been the same story for the last couple of months, is right along the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle of Florida. The drought continues to worsen on the Gulf side, and we've actually expanded it a little bit further into Sumter County as well, that abnormally dry category. We have that abnormally dry category around Cedar Key as well. Our extreme drought continues for us into Pensacola and then in around the Tampa, Sarasota, and in Bradenton area. So we have need of rain. Long-range trends I mentioned earlier in the video that we would talk about that are positive for rainfall going forward. This is the official winter outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. It was released on October 19th. In a previous video, a couple of months ago, we talked about the special edition of the Florida forecast, the winter forecast. You can click on that little card that pops up there or wait to the end of the video. It would be in the end screen as well. But it highlighted my thoughts of the upcoming winter forecast. This is the official outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, a branch of the National Weather Service. And you see it right there clearly. The darker green here represents above normal. What continues to appear, what it appears to look as anyway, is the, I don't want to call anything a slam dunk in the weather, especially when you're looking towards December, January, and February. But I think what's the most likely scenario and the most likely to happen in terms of the United States this upcoming winter is this extremely strong subtropical jet stream that blasts from the Pacific right on over through the deep south that will keep our very active storm train and storm pattern going. We've already seen a hint of that with a couple of bigger systems a few weeks ago, and I think that's something that's going to continue going forward. So again, I do think we have the opportunity to erode our drought. The thing that we're going to watch for is we obviously don't want too much at once. And the other thing is the potential for severe weather that's going to come with a very active subtropical jet stream. So if we can get the rain without getting too much at once and without the severe weather, awesome stuff. But that's something that we're going to look for. Again, look for that winter forecast. I'll have the card at the end of the video, or the end screen, if you will. Tropical update. Positive news here. We were talking about that itty-bitty chance a couple of videos ago. That this could lift out of the Caribbean. That itty-bitty chance is even itty-bittier and really near zero. And the reason for that is this thing never got consolidated. This is that same area, Invest 97L, that did have a high chance to become a tropical storm. It continues to get lower and lower and lower, the opportunity. The environment's great. The water's super warm. It's just hasn't reached its potential. It missed that motivational speaker that they brought in school. It didn't reach its potential. And again, that is a good thing. Again, we're not rooting for this, of course. It's still going to bring some really, really heavy rain to Central America. If it would have been able to get strong early, that's whenever you had to watch for something to go kind of Central America or this and up. Right now, that is likely out of the cards. I mean, it's like a 0% shot. But all of this thunderstorm activity, it's pretty much non-existent. It's kind of out there. Eventually, all this tropical moisture is going to head towards Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama. This is not going to lift up into the Gulf of Mexico either, and it's not going to affect Florida by any means. And I'll show you the latest computer models. If you remember when we first showed you these and showed you some of the ensemble forecasts with this, we had some coming into here and then trying to work its way up into the extreme southwest Gulf of Mexico, or even coming toward Belize and Cancun. Since it stayed weak, it's going to stay further south and work its way more to the west. So, again, positive for Florida. We're still looking out for our friends in Central America, where they're likely going to have a lot of mudslides and flash flooding. Again, you don't need a named storm, especially in that area with the terrain, to cause some big-time impacts. And unfortunately, they're going to have to deal with that. But at least they're not going to have crazy wind to go with it, because this thing is likely not going to develop. If it tries to get its act together, it'd be a depression, maybe a low-end tropical storm at the very worst. But again, some positive news when it comes to Invest 97L. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope everybody's doing okay. Let me know in the comments again if you like this stuff, if you turned on the heat yet in the car or at your house. Post that in the comments if you happen to find this content helpful. Again, please give it a thumbs up. Again, the weather could be rocking this winter. If you want to stay updated on all things Florida weather, please hit that subscribe button. Again, if you found this content helpful, it really would be awesome if you hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out a lot. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.